Hello, and welcome to another episode of Be a Leader podcast, where we talk about current events in sports, military, and business through the lens of leadership. And today we're going to continue talking about the Super Bowl 60, when it was New England Patriots versus the Seattle Seahawks, and specifically on Mike Macdonald, the 38-year-old head coach for Seattle that won the Super Bowl. Man, so I had a friend that played for Mike Macdonald, and I talked to him. I said, "Tell me about something about Mike Macdonald that most of us wouldn't know." And one of the key thing that came instantly to him is saying, Mike Macdonald is even keel. He's not emotionally up. He doesn't go down. He's very straightforward. He's easy to talk to, but he has this level of confidence. He's just even, and it rubs off on the players. And we feel good when we're with him. So let's go a little bit deeper. How does a 38-year-old, second year in the NFL, win the Super Bowl? We're going to go dive into it. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about in this episode. But I want you just to remember, everything that happened in the Super Bowl just didn't start happening on Sunday. Okay, there was a long journey, and we're going to talk about the journey. But there's a key thing here, right? It started with identity. One of my frameworks is the IBR: identity, behavior, results. People come to me, they're so focused on results. What type of things do I need to do to get the results I've been chasing for, haven't been able to get to? People want to start focusing on behavior. And it is important to focus on behavior, but you have to start with identity, because who you are is going to determine how you show up and the things that you do that lead to the results. Okay, Mike Macdonald is a perfect example of IBR. Okay, the identity, we'll talk about it more, but he says, "I believe God called me to coach." And we'll go deeper in that. He really believes that is who he's meant to be, is to be a coach. His behavior, we'll go into some examples, but we know that he's very disciplined, that he's even keel, okay, that he's very process focused. And then with the results, well, now we can say after 14 years of his coaching career journey, now he's a Super Bowl champion. Okay? So Sunday, it's not just when he came in hard, it's just when everyone realized what type of coach he is. All right, so let's look at some leadership principles, and we're going to start, as I've already mentioned, with identity. Everything starts with identity. Again, he was interviewed, and he says, "God called me to be a coach." For him, being a coach is not a title, it's not a position, it is a calling. It's who he's meant to be. He can't see himself being anything other than that, because that's what he feels to his bones that he's meant to do. All right. That's where everything stems from. The reason why he's so calm is because he's not worried about the outcome. He's even keeled because he's focused on the process, because he's living his identity, what he believes he's supposed to do. In the Marine Corps, part of the reason we're so good is because the identity starts. We all earn the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. We're all Marines first. And then the next one we'll talk about is behavior. But we start working on that to build that identity over and over through behavior, and the results speaks for themselves. The reason why we're such good war fighters starts from the identity. The Marine Corps is different than the other branches. We are so focused on the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. That's why that is on the top of everything that we wear. We don't wear a rank. We wear the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor that signifies the United States Marine Corps. Everything starts with identity. Okay? When you know your why, the how figures itself out. Again, he knows he's a head coach. He doesn't have to convince himself that maybe I'm a good coach, maybe I'm not. No, he knows his why. And then the fun is the how. How do I make this work well? How do we become a great team? How do we get to the Super Bowl? How do we win the Super Bowl? Okay, but he knows his who. He knows his why. So are you clear with their identity as a leader? Let's go on to the second point, and I've already mentioned it. It's behavior. Behavior is the next step. Identity, behavior, results. I'm going to give you 3 specific things from Mike Macdonald. The first one I already mentioned. He's even keel. His emotions will go up, they don't go down. He's very steady. He's approachable. He wants to hear people's ideas. He doesn't push people when things get bad. Okay, he's not in a rush. He's even keel. The second one is this phrase, "we did not care." It's a phrase him and his wife spoke about. We'll talk about it later in the episode. This idea that we did not care about the outcome. We did not care if we won the Super Bowl or not. We're not attached to the outcome, but we're committed to the process. That changes everything. Again, we're not attached to the outcome. We are committed to the process. We do not care what the outcome is. We care about doing it the right way, doing it our way, our system, our process. That's the second thing. And the third one is chasing edges, a term that he uses often, which means he's always trying to find an upper hand. What's some new way to exploit the other team? In the Marine Corps, that's our bread and butter, right? What are the strengths and weaknesses of our enemy? What are the strengths and weaknesses? How do we gain the initiative, the upper hand? How do we consistently keep keep that upper hand, especially being such a small fighting force? We have to look for that initiative. We're not an occupation force. We're an expeditionary force. So we have to always look for that initiative, that upper hand. When I coach basketball, college basketball, high school basketball, spacing is the big thing for me. Where is there open space against their defense that we can exploit using our players to score? And on defense, how do we condense the space so our opponents can't operate well? You look at in the startup world, I built a space hardware startup. So the space we found was in outer space, but it's great technology. Where is this most beneficial? Where people are hungry for the benefits, that we can bring our technology together to benefit the whole industry. You're always looking for something else. So those are the three things. He's even keel. We did not care. And he's chasing the edges. Three behaviors that are aligned to his identity. So that's the question I have. Do your daily behaviors match your identity? Let's go on to the third one. Defense is disciplined identity. He's been in defense his whole career. He played high school. We'll talk more about his journey here in the next one. But he's played defense. He's coached position defense. He's been a coordinator as a head coach. He keeps that defensive mindset as part of his identity. And the interesting thing about defense is hard. It takes effort. It takes consistency. Everyone has to do their job. It's very unsexy. It's not flashy like offense. Okay, it takes a lot of work. And the Marine Corps, I can look at something similar. Standards, discipline. It's those things that we have to do over and over again. One of the unique things about sports and military is there are no highlights in the military. You will never know the things that I did in Iraq. Okay? But guess what? You stayed warm and safe, and no one was attacking you here because of the work that we did in the shadows. Right? Defense is similar in the sports. Right? It's the work. You only see it when something goes wrong. So that is what he worked on. And there's proof in how good they were as a defensive team. In the Super Bowl game against New England Patriots, they had 20 sacks. 20 sacks on that quarterback. It was a nightmare for New England. 7 forced fumbles. That is a lot of fumbles. And in the first half alone, they held New England to 5 punts. New England couldn't even score. The defense showed up because it was part of their identity, part of his identity. The defense, what are you doing when no one else is watching? But you're consistently at it over and over and over, that foundation. Defense was that for Seattle because of Coach Mike Macdonald. And the fourth one is journey. And I like the journey because it's very similar to my journey. He played high school football, very good football player. I played high school football. I was a very good football player. I won state. I was also a runner-up in state. He played defense. I played both offense, defense. I played special teams as well, but I love defense. I just loved hitting people. He had a big football injury in high school that changed his career. I had a big football injury that changed my career. He ended up going to University of Georgia as a non-athlete. I went to University of Michigan as a non-athlete. Later, he became a graduate assistant coach at Georgia. I was an undergrad head manager for the basketball team, and later came back as a graduate assistant for University of Michigan. But unlike Mike Macdonald, my position was cut first week of school, which won Howard, which is an entirely different story. But I'm glad he was kept on there at University of Georgia. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this right now. Mike Macdonald winning the Super Bowl at age 38. It was a 14-year journey for him. Okay. And the thing here I also like is it wasn't like he was a star player that was just handed the keys. We see this often. We see it especially in basketball. Oh, you're a great player. You must be a great coach too. You can show them all how you did it. But we know that just because you're good at playing doesn't mean you're good at coaching. Just like you've probably worked with people at your work, they were very good at their job, but now they've been moved up to manager and they're terrible managers, right? Or people are good players but they're terrible leaders, okay, because they don't know how to lead. No one's ever shown them how to lead. So we see this often where great players are given the keys. He was not given the keys. He had to go every step of the way. From graduate assistant coach, he coached a little bit of high school as well. He was a positions coach on defense. He eventually became a coordinator for the first time at University of Michigan. In fact, I was still living in Ann Arbor after my position got cut as a graduate assistant coach for the basketball team. I was still living there when he was there for his one season, and as defensive coordinator was able to beat Ohio State for the first time in since 2011. It was snowing that day. I will never forget that game. He was there. And then he went back to the NFL as a defensive coordinator. And then he eventually got the head coaching job. And this was only his second season as a head coach. He mastered every step of the way. 14 years to get to this position. Okay, again, there's no overnight success. It's just overnight recognition. And the question I have for you, are you mastering the level that you are on? Or are you rushing for the next one? And this is a great question, because if you're ambitious like I am, I have tendencies in the past to want to rush on. But you're not ready for the next one if you can't master what you're focused on now. The task is always on hand, right now, right here. You will get there. But learn to be great with where you're at. Be great where you're planted right now. Master it. Become an all-star. And then you'll be ready to move on and help others along their path as well. He mastered every step of the way. And we should too. And then finally, the fifth one, the last one I want to mention, is this unseen infant structure. Let's talk about coaching for a second, because I'm living in it. I've been living in it. Coaching is a rough career. Okay, there is no job security. There is no predictability. There is chaos every turn. I've had back-to-back games where one day my team does so well and I'm on a high. I'm like, yes, this is why I do it. And the next day we're off that high. We play terrible because we're complacent. I tell them, and we play terrible. And then I'm questioning, why am I still doing this? They haven't figured it out. It is a roller coaster. And especially when you're in professional areas, your job security, you're as good as your last game. You might get fired midway through the season. You might have to leave from one side of the country to the other side of the country to take your whole family with you. It is a very challenging career to be in. And if it's challenging for the coaches, it's especially challenging for the spouses. And I know many spouses that are married to coaches, and most of them have to tolerate it because it's a rough life. But he's married to Stephanie. And Stephanie spent 8 years in the NFL as a cheerleader. So she understands the environment of the National Football League. But it's not just that she understands the environment. It's not just that she tolerates coaching. It's that she believes in coaching. She believes in coaching, and she believes in her husband living his calling, living that identity. I'll go back. There was a little clip that someone recorded, and it's Mike and Stephanie talking after the football game. And they literally go back and forth saying, we did not care. We did not care about the outcome. But what do you know? We're Super Bowl champs. We did it together, but we didn't care. Right? They cared about the process. And here's the thing that's interesting. This identity is not just identity that was from home. It's not just identity that was from work and then goes away at home. No, it's shared between work and home. And I would argue the identity starts at home. And then it comes out into the world and how you show up and how you use your gifts in the world. So really the work should be a reflection from home. That's often when I coach people, there's so much disconnect between home and work. It starts at home. So he has this perfect alignment between his home life and his work life, and alignment with his wife and him both believing that he's on this mission. There is so much power there. Okay? The best leaders do not build alone. The best leaders build people around them who also believe in the mission as much as they do. He has a special support system at home. He is completely aligned. There's power there. I'm sure there's alignment also in the organization around there. But just highlighting the structure that he has is so powerful that we can learn from as well. All right, I'm having fun. I know you can tell I'm having fun. Let's talk about the key takeaways from this episode. So the first one, identity is the root of everything. You've heard me say it, the IBR. identity, behavior, result. It all starts with identity. He believes he's doing his life's calling. And that's why he can stay even keel. Okay? Because he's not worried about proving it to anyone else. He knows he's doing what he's meant to be called. That leads to the second one. Behavior is identity in motion. We covered 3 specific types of behavior that he does that reflects specifically to his identity. We need to have that same alignment as well. The third one, discipline is the behavior nobody applauds. We should all be doing some things because they're important to us, not because of the applause. Applause is a reflection of other people. It's not a reflection of what's important to us. Defense is one of those things for him. The fourth one, there is no overnight success, only overnight recognition. Again, it's not until he wins the Super Bowl and people are like, where did this guy come from? Who is he? He's not that loud. He hardly talks. We don't know much about him. 14-year journey. Okay, it just didn't happen overnight. And the fifth one, your infrastructure is part of your identity. He has that infrastructure with his wife. He's very clear on his identity. His wife is very aligned to him. They both work together. They both have the same phrases, right? That's the funny thing. It's the same phrases. It's not even like phrases from work. It's phrases from home that he takes to work. I love it. I love it. I need to do some self-reflection too, because I got all types of phrases for my basketball teams. Okay, there's so much power there. And this leads me, I got 3 questions for you. What is your identity as a leader? Not your title, not your position. Who are you? The second one, does your daily behavior match your identity? Not just on the good days, but on the rough days too. Every day, do your daily behaviors match your identity? And the third question, are your results reflective in your identity and your daily behaviors? Or are you taking shortcuts? Or maybe the results aren't exactly what you want. And I would challenge you, it's probably most likely misalignment between your identity and behavior. And that's stuff I love working with my clients on. Okay. Again, identity, behavior, results. Mike Macdonald is a great case study over his 14 years and is now a Super Bowl champion. All right. And that Super Bowl game was just for us to realize how great he is, how great of a leader he is, self-leadership. All right. So again, Mike Macdonald just didn't wake up on that Sunday of the Super Bowl and be like, gee, boy, I'm going to be confident today. No, it was years in the making. The identity, behavior, results over and over and over again. That's where the confidence came from. He wasn't chasing confidence. It was just part of who he was because of the identity, behavior, results. 14 years. And if you're telling me I don't have that, at 14 years is too long. 6 weeks. Give me 6 weeks together. My program, the Confident Leader Bootcamp, is designed specifically to be able to carve out your identity, your behavior, so you can have the results that you've been chasing and haven't been able to fully realize. 6 weeks. We start this next one in 2 weeks here. Start at the beginning of March. I only do this twice a year. This is a great time to join. It will change your life. When you stop holding back, then life becomes full of opportunity. Mike Macdonald is a great example for us that we can all learn from. So that's the challenge for you. That is the invitation for you. Let's learn from Mike Macdonald. Let's structure our life. Let's lead from the front, identity, behavior, results, and see where life takes us. Anyways, I appreciate you attending this another episode of Be a Leader podcast. Please like it and send this to someone who you think could use this. Send someone to remind them that you're thinking of them and you're also challenging them as you're challenging yourself. We all need support. We all need support. So I challenge you to send this out to someone that you can think of that could use it. And after all, as we always end this podcast, thank you for watching, whether you're leading yourself, leading others, or leading leaders. Be a leader. My name is Daniel Pinedo. Thank you, and until next time.